Hey everyone. Looks like folks are still joining, but for the sake of time, we're going to get started here. So my name's Sarah Bullock. I'm the marketing associate here at Ecotrope. And thank you all for coming to our scenario modeling demo and launch party. As many of you may know, we've had scenario modeling as a service available for the past few months now, but now it's actually available in the app. So anyone who has access to it is able to see a scenario modeling button right there and navigate to it and use it without having to go through our team for that, which is really exciting. Our development team has been working really hard for the past few months, and it's really excited to finally debut this to all of you. So today, basically what we'll be doing is going over a couple of use cases for the application. David will walk you through a couple of different demonstrations for how to use it. And we'll be giving away some prizes. And as many of you also probably know, anyone who attends this session has the opportunity to actually try out the tool for 2 weeks for free. And David will get more into the details of that later on. So without further ado, I'll have David take it away.
Great, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, welcome everybody. We're super happy to be here and show you the new user interface and scenario modeling in app. As many of you know, you've probably seen some of our emails about this new tool and kind of about the power that it has. And what I want to do today is kind of give you an overview of why we built scenario modeling, what it can help you do. And I'll give you a demo of what it looks like in the app. And there'll be some prizes around every once in a while. If you type an answer into the chat, we'll select somebody from that to send a prize to. And finally, at the end, I'll also talk about how you can receive a free 2-week trial of scenario modeling. And it may be kind of timely. We've been seeing the news out of DC about maybe some movement on the 45L tax credit and how that might be changing. And we're guessing that builders are going to really be wanting to understand how they can achieve this new tax credit when it's tied to the Energy Star certification or the DOE Zero Energy Ready Home certification, and the increased dollars tied to both of those. We're guessing will be very intriguing to all of your clients. So let me try and get this up and running. I know I have some questions that I want to ask for the prizes. So I may have to actually ask Sarah if you could look and make sure that I ask those questions, or ask them yourself when you see them in the notes of the slides. That would be super helpful.
Totally, you got it.
Great. All right, so we'll jump in here right away. So we've heard from you, and I've had some experiences of this as a HERS rater in the past as well, that a builder will ask you to evaluate how a new product or design change will impact the performance of their plans. And they'll do this at any time, whether it's value engineering early in the project, whether it's they can't get something due to a supply chain issue, and they call you up and say, hey, what will this do if I make this change? And to do that, it takes a lot of time. And they don't understand kind of how big of a problem, how much work that takes to complete. The other kind of use case that we see here that we've heard from others is how to determine a strategy for all of the plans to pass a new energy code, or like I was saying, a new 45L requirement. And to do that, again, it takes you a lot of time to look at each energy model and make a few changes to determine which change has the biggest impact, which path you should suggest to your client to increase 45L compliance, or make sure they pass energy code for all the different iterations of that home. A couple other things that we've heard folks use kind of a process like scenario modeling for is whenever a new house plan comes into the builder's portfolio, or sometimes when you earn a new client, they bring all their house plans. And when they do that, they expect you to kind of review them and verify that they are passing the local energy code, and doing some of that kind of value add analysis that you provide, showing them better ways to build for the same cost to them, or ways that they get the same performance for a cheaper home or for a less expensive cost of materials, as well as showing them maybe new ways that they could achieve a tax credit that they hadn't been considering before. And that onboarding, takes a lot of time because they're bringing their entire portfolio of plans, and then your plan review team has to go through and build the energy models and do that analysis. This repetitive kind of time-consuming task that we think you can improve with scenario modeling. Finally, during the as a service phase, we've seen that some of our kind of users in the as a service were able to actually kind of sell this scenario modeling service because it is so much more comprehensive as a value add tool in their toolbox and service that they can sell to their clients. And it's really interesting to see these new things come along. And we're excited that a tool that we build is expanding your ability to sell services to clients. Oops. So I want to do this first question here. I've talked about kind of three different use cases, and I want to ask for folks attending, what analysis do you think you would do first when you receive the 2-week trial? Put this in the chat, and we'll look in the chat and we'll send a prize to the one that has the most creative response to this question. We're always surprised by the types of things people come up with when they're talking about and thinking about how to use scenario modeling. So the way that we see you kind of doing scenario modeling now is you probably model a few representative energy models and then slog through each individual design change and energy model and record that result in a spreadsheet or on a piece of paper, and then compile all the results at the end. And this means that you're not modeling all of the design changes that you would like to do, and maybe not modeling using all of the energy models or analyzing all the energy models that you'd like to. So the way that we kind of understand it is this existing process that you're doing for your clients already is time consuming. The iterations are painful and hard to keep track of. And you may not evaluate everything that you would like. So there may be missed opportunities that you would otherwise catch if you could do a more comprehensive analysis. We've also heard from builders that they like the comprehensive analysis because right now, if you just select the representative, you say, this is the worst case model. And to the best of our knowledge, this works. And everybody here is, extremely smart and competent about how to make those recommendations, but it isn't comprehensive. It isn't 100%. So this tool allows you to be 100% and tell exactly what that impact would be on an entire portfolio of energy models. So with scenario modeling, with Ecotrope scenario modeling, you're able to analyze 20 design changes on 1,000 energy models all at once in a matter of a few minutes. So previously, where you may have been modeling 5 energy models and 5 to 10 design changes, and that taking a few hours, you can make all of those numbers much, much larger, while the time it takes to do that is much, much smaller. That way you can respond to all of your builders' what if requests within minutes. And they call you on the phone and ask you, what if we did this? It's not a thing that you need to try and talk them out of wanting to know or giving them a broad answer. You can say, yes, I'll give you that answer. Give me 20 minutes. Let me run it through scenario modeling, and I'll tell you exactly what the impact of that is. With scenario modeling, also, like I said, can help your builder create a plan to navigate the ever-changing building energy environment. Now, 45L is changing, energy code is constantly changing, or the value engineering that they do when they bring up a new set of house plans. We know when they do value engineering, they're testing many, many different design changes. And whenever they test that, they may make a plan, but then they come back and revisit that plan over and over and over again of how they will achieve that 45L tax credit. And this tool allows you to do that quickly and easily. So let me jump into the app and I'll show you how this works in real life. So here's the Radar app. And right now I have it filtered by the builder, Eco Builder. And I'm going to go ahead and select all of the energy models that I would like to analyze. I'm going to go ahead and select 48 energy models here. And down here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a new button that says Scenario Modeling Beta. This tool is in beta right now. We are constantly adding things and improving the UI right now. And it should be released out of beta very soon, but it's still fully functional. And I'll show you kind of everything it can do right now. So it's going to need to load all of those energy models into the app right now. And sorry, I may have an internet connection issue. Sorry about that. My internet went down for a second, had to jump over to a hotspot. So here we go. I've loaded 48 energy models into the app. And these are the 48 energy models that I want to analyze. And the first thing that we need to do to analyze it is to say what kind of design changes we want to check. And a design change is kind of any part of the energy model that we want to swap out. And the first kind of design changes that come up is the infiltration change. So I'm going to make a infiltration design change. And what this means is for all 48 of these energy models that we can see over here in the upper left, I'm going to say change or update the infiltration to 2ACH50. And I'll be able to evaluate to understand what the energy performance impact of that improved building envelope is for these energy models. I'm going to go ahead and add more design changes here. Let's add a floor. And as you can see, this is referencing our component library for this particular account. So it's based on our component library. I'm going to go ahead and say, an R38 floor. I'm going to add a wall. And as I add a wall, we can see all of the different components here. Let's go ahead and add a really good wall here, maybe 2x6. And I'll add another ceiling here, or a ceiling change. Let's go up to find like an R50, just for good measure. So you can see all the different types of design changes. You can add up to 20 in each analysis that you do. So you can really evaluate a ton of different options all at once. The next part of scenario modeling is you need to assemble the scenario. So we'll go ahead and press the plus button, and you'll see a list of all of the different design changes that we just defined. And in this area, we say, in this what if scenario, what things do we want to test and how do we want it to be evaluated? I'm going to go ahead and call this thing all design changes, rename it, and I'm going to select each design change. The other way to think about this scenario is a recipe, and each of these are the ingredients. So I've said apply or use all 4 of these ingredients in this recipe. Then I'm going to copy this. And I have another one, exact copy. I'm going to say do everything but the building envelope, or everything but the infiltration change. So just building envelope improvements. And I'm going to rename it building envelope improvements. So now I have 2 scenarios or 2 recipes. Next, I'm going to use a shortcut button that creates a bunch of design scenarios that has 1 design change in a piece. So this way I can evaluate what the impact of just the infiltration changes or just the floor insulation increase is. Now, this is my kind of set of scenarios. The next thing I need to do is select which results I want or how I want this evaluated. Oops. You'll see we have about a dozen different things here I'm going to say, what's the impact on the HERS index? What's the impact on 45L tax credit? And the impact on the IECC 2021 Performance Energy Code. We'll be adding state-specific codes as well as additional utility rebate programs to the results. That way you can really hone in on things that are specific to your region. So now I've defined the entire project, and we'll see our kind of summary of it here. We see that we have 4 different design changes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scenarios. And we're going to evaluate what the impact of each of these scenarios on those energy models based on these evaluation metrics. And once we do this, I'm going to press finish. This will send all this analysis to our server and respond with a CSV data file that has all of the results in it. We'll also provide you during this kind of beta time a Excel template that you can dump those CSV results into to analyze and review those projects. Ultimately, you'll have a PDF report sent to you once we're out of beta that looks like this. This is a different project than we just analyzed, but it will have all of the design changes listed here, each scenario, and what design changes are in each scenario, as well as the analysis results summarized at the bottom. So as you can see here, we can have the baseline on the right, and the average HERS index for that baseline is 60.2. But if we look at scenario number 1, the average HERS index drops to 53.2. So that's the results should have arrived in my inbox by now. Our goal is that you'll be able to do 1,000 energy models and 20 scenarios, and the results will be sent to you in under 20 minutes. We've done a lot of back-end engineering effort to make it so that this runs on a scalable computer, which means however many computers is needed to do the analysis in 20 minutes will be created, and it'll run the analysis in the cloud and email you back the results, within 20 minutes in a timely fashion. Let's do a couple trivia questions now. And Sarah, could you take that away?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so do a little trivia now. Basically, we'll send some prizes to the first correct answer in the chat for each of these. So some of these have already been discussed throughout the presentation today. Others you may have seen either on our website or in some emails and things. So want to just test your knowledge. Also, some of them are just a little more broad in answering. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Question number 1, roughly how long does it take to run a scenario modeling analysis? Oh, and Chris Cox, you are correct, roughly 20 minutes. Next up, about how much time will you save by using scenario modeling instead of doing it by hand?
This may be a tougher one to answer, but I think it's really up to you, because depending on how long it takes you to do this analysis today, we know that in the future, it'll take you 20 minutes max of analysis time, and then however long it takes you to enter the data into Ecotrope to get it set up.
So looks like John here was the quickest to answer in many hours. I would accept as a correct answer. How about you, David? I think that's pretty accurate. But again, as someone else pointed out, depends on the scenario. Some of them are much faster than others. For doing a big group of them, that obviously adds to the time. So someone here is very specific. Justin, with a 66% reduction, I think there's that can be definitely argued. Okay. So how many energy models can you analyze with scenario modeling? Does anyone know the maximum number? Hint, it's a pretty big one. Yep, Joseph is correct. Very quick with that. It's 1,000. You can model 1,000 energy models at once, or analyze 1,000, sorry. How many scenarios can you run on the energy models using scenario modeling? Whoa, people were fast with this one. 20, yes, Abedina. I'm sorry if I'm saying that, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but that's correct.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Good, everybody's paying attention. And let's talk about kind of how we can get you guys set up to try out scenario modeling with a trial. So we'll send a link out after this webinar with sign up details. We'll just need your email and contact information if you want to participate. And that free trial will include a kickoff tutorial, as well as a follow-up kind of satisfaction call to understand how it went, what you experienced, and making sure that you know kind of how to run it. Your entire company will have access to the tool for 2 weeks. And that will allow anybody to kind of test it out and try it, and hopefully kind of understand the benefits of scenario modeling in their day-to-day work life. As in the trial, you'll have kind of access to what I just showed you, and maybe more. We're adding more types of design changes all the time. In the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have HVAC equipment added there as well. And we'll be adding better reports and new reports as we go here as well. So look forward to that email coming from us after this webinar. And we look forward to scheduling those kickoff meetings with you to make sure that you get off on the right foot for that 2-week trial. And that wraps up our webinar. If you have any questions, we have 5 extra minutes here. We're happy to field any questions that you have. Just type them in the Q&A, and we can work through those as they come up. And thank you all for coming and attending. Sorry for that little internet snafu, but I think we were able to get through that and get you all the information that you came here for.
I do see one question in the chat from John. Question is, do the original models get changed?
Good question. All of the changes that we make using scenario modeling are ephemeral or temporary. All that happens is we look at that energy model, we make the change that you've defined, and we don't make it to that original energy model, and it's undone at the end. We have plans for the future that you will be able to say, oh, that scenario was really good, and apply those changes to the energy models that I analyzed. That way you don't have to go back and still manually make those changes or use the batch modify function. You'll just be able to say, oh, that one worked well, apply the changes and move on.
Jeff asks, what's the cost of this service after the free trial?
Yes, good question. The cost is going to be dependent on kind of the size of your organization. We have a kind of sliding scale of what that is. And, we can talk through that during the kickoff meeting on the free trial as well. That way you understand it, but it depends on your size.
Awesome. So with that, it looks like that's the end of the questions. And like I said, you can always reach out to us via email or use that little support button in the application. Thank you to everyone for joining, for coming and seeing this demonstration and kind of celebrating with us. We're really excited about this tool. We've been working on it for a long time. So yeah, we appreciate all of your interest in it, and we hope to see you real soon.